Good morning, students. Today we will see the second problem of development of surfaces assignment. A hexagonal prism of base height 30 mm and axis 70 mm rests on its base on the HP with a vertical face parallel to VP. A circular hole of diameter 50 mm is drilled centrally through the prism such that the axis of the hole and the axis of the prism are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Draw the development of the lateral surface of the retained prism. Retained prism means the whole portion need not to be drawn. The remaining portion should be drawn. So, a hexagonal prism is having a cylindrical hole at the center. How to draw the development of lateral surfaces for this? Let us see how to do it. Now, before going for the development of lateral surfaces, I've drawn the hexagonal prism in the top view, which is having a side, which is having the corners notations as A, B, C, D, E in the top. At the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've projected this hexagonal prism in the front view. Also, I marked the notations. Here, the A, B, C, D is visible at the top, and EF will not be visible, which is at the back. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, 4 is visible at the bottom, and 5 and 6 will not be visible. Now, in the question, they said a circular hole of diameter 50 mm is drilled centrally through the prism such that the axis of the hole and the axis of the prism are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Means the hole should be drilled at the center of the prism such that the axis of the hole, cylindrical hole, and the axis of the prism should meet. So, if you draw this 50 mm diameter of hole at the center of the prism, the diameter of the hole is slightly bigger than the side of the prism. The side of the prism is 30 mm only. So, for this case, the additional projections which is existing on both sides of the hole, that is the I and the M point, should be projected towards the top view, and we have to mark it. The remaining points we can mark it directly in the sides of this particular prism. So after making this top view and the front view, draw the circular hole at the center. The total height of the prism is 70 mm. Mark at 35 mm center point. From the center point, draw a circular hole. Mark all those notations. Now, this circular hole is supposed to be projected in the top view, and wherever it cuts in the prism, we should mark those points also in between A and B, C and D, D and E, and F and E. To draw the development of the lateral surfaces of this prism, we have to calculate the total sides. So, hexagonal prism is having 6 sides, and each side is having 30 mm, 30 into 6, 180 mm length, and the height is 70 mm. We have to draw the rectangle, and this rectangle is supposed to be divided into 6 divisions. And mark all those notations with whatever been marked in the front view, A, B, C, D, E, F, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, after this, we should mark all those points wherever the holes is existing, means that cutting points of the hole, that should also be marked here. So, what we have to do here is, we should identify the distance of that particular point. For example, the I is existing between A and B. Just project it in the top view. Wherever it cuts in between A and B, mark that particular point and mark that distance. That distance should be marked here in the development of surfaces in between A and B. Similarly, in between D and C, wherever it cuts, that particular point should be marked in between D and C. Please listen very carefully that the distance between D and C, in that particular distance, this cutting edge M is very closer to D. So we should mark nearer to D here, or nearer to 4. Okay. So that distance you have to measure it and mark it with that distance. Similarly, we have to mark it in between D and E. Similarly, in between E and F. Now all these points have been marked, projected towards vertically. So you can get the points. Similarly, we have to mark all those cutting points of the circle horizontally, and wherever it meets, we should mark. For example, the O point and K point are existing in between B and C and 2 and 3. In between B and C, at the middle, the O point is existing. So draw a vertical line in between B and C, and wherever the point O cuts, mark that particular point. Similarly, we can mark all those points, project all the lines, then start marking all those points. I is existing between A and B. Mark that particular point. Similarly, J is existing in the side B and 2. B and 2, we can mark that particular point. Similarly, K is existing between 2 and 3. Mark that particular point. Similarly, L, M, N, everything. Once if it is over, then we can connect all these cutting points and make it as a curve. It won't be a perfect circle. It is slightly an ellipse, but is having a different shape also. So I have marked it, but it won't be an ellipse because this edge is supposed to be connected with this point. So I am removing some of the portions and connecting it with that. Similarly, we can connect it on the other side also, and we can mark all those points, I, J, K, L, M, and OP on both sides. That's all. This is the development of lateral surfaces of a hexagonal prism having a cylindrical hole at the center in such a way that the cylindrical hole bisects the axis of the prism. So axis of the hole bisects the axis of the prism. Thank you.